Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. She was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes, well, she always did her best to help out those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare it's sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we sit on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. If only there was something I could have done to restore the credibility of this beautiful vessel. Money's no problem. Now there's a lot of fingers pointing, suspicion running strong. Who's to be blamed for all her failures? Who's to be blamed for doing her wrong? Now please remember I'm warning you, for 30 years she had the same crew who hold the keys to her vault. So we know who's at fault. Now it's up to you, it's up to me to make her worthy to go back to sea. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough, oh yes. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me, oh yo yo. We don't know, we don't know. You tell me, oh. From the Trinidad, location 7 miles off. The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing with an old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free. But sadly Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a ball. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. Trinidad, oh she was a beauty, with wealth that few surpassed. And in her day she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took bite, bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough, oh yes. We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we slow. We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. The Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated to answer all SOS calls. And yes, well, she always did her best to help all those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare, Captain, the ship is sinking. From the Trinidad, location 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Help! Help! The Trinidad, a luxury liner, Caribbean Sea, with an old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free. But sadly Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I sail a fall. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. A beauty with wealth that few surpassed, and in her day she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took bite, bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at a lull. She could barely sit on her hull. Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. The Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never...
Yes, indeed. Pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, this is the corridor transformation, of course, the first working day of the week. A very, what I consider to be mixed bag as far as the weather is concerned, because early morning into midday, certainly we had some bright and healthy looking sunshine. And then, of course, dark clouds dominated the late evening, and of course dampened people's ability to move around, to get to home and from work and from school, etc. But I trust that all have arrived safely, and that of course you survive to live another day in Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, we have to make Trinidad the capacity exists so to do. I have no doubt in my mind. But of course, there are certain what I consider to be in-house cleaning that we have to do. And one of which, of course, no doubt, is that of getting rid of the impediment, the humbug, the detriment, the pernicious elements, those who are prepared, of course, to stay in office of influence in the country after the population having reposed their trust in them, but are prepared to abuse that trust, and therefore turns out to be, of course, absolute and total parasites that must be gotten rid of. And if anyone has a concept as to what a parasite is, well, it is a creature that takes only under the PNM, if there can ever be a perfect description, a perfect characterization of a parasite manifested, then the Rowley PNM administration clearly is a candidate of a superlative nature, people. And of course, tonight we will continue because there is something that we have to understand. No matter how complex the issue is, we have to address it, particularly if it affects our immediate, short-term, and long-term opportunities, or the lack thereof as a consequence of the presence of these hurdles, impediments, and of course things that are retrogressive, and therefore we have a duty and responsibility as human beings and as citizens of this country and as patriots to, of course, arrest, address, ameliorate, and rectify. And if we are not prepared so to do, whether we have to acquire the capacity, whether we have to outsource the resource in order to do it, I am not advocating violence here. No, I am advocating intellectual prowess, strategy and stratagem, as well as old-fashioned elbow grease and putting the shoulders to the wheel so as to generate the patience, the tenacity, the insistence, because the cause is a worthy one. And once a cause is worthy and righteous, particularly when it is against those unrighteous and those who are prepared to endanger the society, the community, the family, the individual, whether directly or indirectly, we have a duty not only to analyze, assess, and have a response capability or respond appropriately. And if we fail so to do, we will be doing not only an injustice to ourselves, but to our children and our children's children. That is how far, deep, wide, and of course, high this challenge is. And we must, of course, come up to scratch. So, is it that Trinidad and Tobago is sinking? Well, I say Trinidad and Tobago is not far from collapsing because the PNM has collapsed. The PNM under Rowley has collapsed. And therefore, we have a duty and responsibility to resurrect, to put the necessary shores or the buttresses that will, of course, ensure that we nurse Trinidad and Tobago back to its former pristine position, and therefore have a better quality of life and standard of living, and the not necessarily absolute utopia, but certainly the paradise that Trinidad and Tobago we have dreamt of and have been a part of, and have been with extreme pleasure, all of us, to build a nation as young as we are. But when we have flies in the ointment, when we have impediment, have an agenda that is counter that movement, that developmental projection, that advancement with a trajectory that is common to all of us and which we all aspire, and then you have a small group of individuals having captured government. They want, of course, to benefit from the spoils of what you and I would have worked extremely hard and long for. I say damn them. I say forget them. I say we have to act in our best interests. Not even lower level animals take this kind of abuse in perpetuity. The day will come when we have to launch back, because our backs are against the wall. And like every other animal, the human being moves for two basic things: to eat and to avoid danger. Well, Rowley and his government has threatened our ability to move, and therefore our ability to eat, and our ability to avoid dangers. We just have to watch at the crime statistics and understand that. But let me go on to say, because people say that I am delinquent in that regard, so let me, apart from giving my formal salutations, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central, and Trinidad, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Let me say, yes, the corridor transformation is on, and please share, like, utilize all of the facilitation of whether it be Facebook or YouTube, because we are on both platforms, to spread the word that the corridor transformation is here every night except on a Friday from 8 o'clock. Very important. But of course tonight we will look at the existential dangers posed only because Rowley and they are in office. If they were not in office, we in business, they go to the courts, they are found guilty, they make the jail. That is not our interest. But once they are occupying the office of Prime Minister and ministerial offices, and of course the kitchen cabinet scenario, where of course you have chairmen of state enterprises all over the place, placed there by Dr. Rowley, and they certainly that is our concern. There's none other. I don't want anybody to tell me it's an exercise in futility and it will just come out from the other air when it entered the other one. When you're telling me, of course, why it is you have to focus on Dr. Rowley and they. Well, the politics makes it an imperative in any country, because if you have to breathe the air, the quality of the air is based on politics. If there is a poor environmental policy, we breathe polluted air. If there is a policy for water and it is so executed that It is not pure crystal and of course pristine and palatable and we might as well give up and go in any river, whether it is polluted or not, and drink from it, because we are giving them the resources and the financial wherewithal to bring to us, find the water through pipe, through truck-borne supply, win the water wherever, generate dams, etc., dig wells if necessary. That is what their job is, and that is why you have a Ministry of Public Utilities to deliver all of that, not to only raise and impose on our fixed salary in situations where everything else, because of politics, you believe it is something else that caused the subsidies on the fuel to be removed. It's because of politics. It was a decision made by Rowley and they. Do you think that the shutting down of Petrotrin happened out of the clear blue sky or out of some kind of epiphany? No, it is Rowley and they that took the decision to close it down. The fact that we do not have our refinery today to benefit, of course, from what is happening between Ukraine and Russia. What do you think that is? Politics. And therefore, our crime and criminality and the exponential increase in murders. Politics. And therefore, central to that, ground zero to that, the centrifugal force is the government. Politics. And while of course we know we have a legitimate and legal opposition, in the system we have the executive, usually the party with the most seats in the lower house coming out of an election, are the ones that manage the affairs of the country. So I cannot call on Kamala. How? Why must I? Kamala doesn't have access to the treasury of the country and the utilization of the resources that is therein. So don't ask me to relent. Don't ask me to stop calling Rowley. And don't ask me not to say that he's a blasted rapist and a pedophile, because that is what he is. He has not, as a big man, protected his name over all these years. And then Robert starts saying it now, and others, and he pretends that he ain't hearing anything, just as how he'll come and sell you a story in spite of the fact that you are not interested or you don't believe him. He will still tell you it because he believes that somehow he can throw that hogwash on walls and see us as walls some will stick, because there is a cadre of sycophants and apologists, because they're getting a little piece of the national treasury nectar, are talking about 30 pieces of silver, and therefore they are prepared, of course, to sell their own self, far less for the children and their children's children, their family, etc., and sacrifice their neighbors because they are comfortable, just as how Rowley and they are comfortable, and they don't care about the vast majority of the population. I want to say, of course, I thank all those persons who came out on Friday in the call by the trade union movement. I think it was a successful event. I think it was not as well attended as we would have liked it, but certainly, or one would have liked it, but certainly it was a show of concern, deep concern in this country, and of course to highlight, if not all, but certainly most of the issues that we talk on a nightly basis here. So I want to do that as well. The other developments, the the Bank of Jamaica, the Central Bank of Jamaica, just said that they don't want, they have put out an edict. There must be no Trinidad and Tobago transaction, yes, money transaction in Jamaica right now until further notice, and its effect starts today. We must be concerned. Jamaica represents the largest CARICOM market in CARICOM. It's over 2 million people there. Big as Guyana is, there's less than 100,000. Understand that. So, what does that mean for Trinidad and Tobago and our manufactured goods that we sell? Well, thank God, while there is a healthy stock of Trinidad and Tobago dollars in Jamaica, and that seemed to be the reason why they halt transactions in Trinidad and Tobago dollars, because just as Guyana, the vice president there in Guyana had telegraphed a particular development among Trinidad and Tobago businessmen who have interests in these respective territories. And what they do, because they cannot get foreign exchange here, they go, of course, to Guyana and use Trinidad, their bundles or their large sums of Trinidad and Tobago dollars, and exchange it for foreign currency or for US dollars there. And the same thing in Jamaica, and they have discovered that, and they have clamped down that. But of course, Jamaica has its own issue with respect to its own economy, and it's of course a supply and demand and availability of foreign exchange. Let's go straight to the lines. Our pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
But to you and to everybody on the chat except Barry Putram and the rest of PNM Blue Fly.
Yes.
Lennox.
Hey.
Troubling the Kotia.
Yes.
Kiana, I don't know if you listen to Ian Allen this evening. Right? I don't know if you listen to Ian Allen this evening.
No, I didn't.
But Ian Allen he's making accusations that certain members, say an MP from South, right, organizing, getting signatures, and his accusations, I'm just repeating what he's saying,
Yeah.
A senator as well, involved in getting accusations to remove Kamala, and taking it to the president. Tonight I am asking, is the president in New Lekoto Jambi, that they could go to her to remove Kamala like what they do to Manning? She's an elected member. The president does not have that authority to remove her. But I want to tell them tonight, whoever planning that, right? Don't call me and ask me for police support. I will never ever support the UNC again if that should happen. I'm done with them. Let Rowley stay there and let him do what he wants. Humble patch for them. Hey, don't bother me again. You said tonight what Rowley is doing to the country. Who is going to remove Rowley when we have the crabs, the gutty mouthers, and the backstabbers trying to bring down the UNC? They don't care about country. And I want to tell Barry Butcher, I'm here tonight. Put on your big girl panties and come. Right? You want to accuse me of staging the coup against Mr. Predecessor? You see what I did to Tabakit, Mr. Tabakit? I'll do you worse. You're hiding behind a fake profile to accuse me, because that's what real Makome man does. Corner house Mako does. You are not a real man. So you continue to do what it is you're doing. And to say that Mrs. Wasabi says only wants her salary, she's not fighting for the country. Who caused us to have an election, Lennox? Who caused us?
Kamla Prasad Bisasa
It
at the
was
UNC.
for Mrs. Prasad Bisasa's determination. Exactly.
That's right.
That's right. Determination.
People-centered.
Rowley would have gotten away with his mischief.
That's right.
Yeah. Who is the one that exposed what happened to that man in Barbados when they went and arrested the man? It's Kamla Prasad Bisasa, the UNC exposed it. But you see, sometimes I feel Barry's a woman. Because it's only a woman's scorn could hate a next woman so and lie on a next woman so. It's only a woman's scorn could do that. I telling you, Lennox, some of these men are worse than women. Now to come on, this next one here is Joseph, referring to you as a babbling buffoon. Every night you come in here, Lucy, talking about the PNM. Why don't talk about you, the UNC? I didn't know UNC was in office. I didn't know it was UNC thieving out the treasury. I didn't know it was UNC making the rich richer. And clearly, according to Mr. Lahoketa this morning, Rowley has started campaigning that if Farley win the 2 seats, Farley will give it to UNC, and UNC will get it to government, and they will continue thieving. What is Rowley doing? If Kamla thief, Kamla help the people of the country. But he taking and making the rich richer. 600 recusals. And you know what is hurtful, Lennox?
Go ahead.
If this is true what Ian Allen is saying, right? If this is true, and I have no doubt, because we have been hearing about a palace school for the longest while. Look at what Rowley is doing to the country. And this is what all they tried to do, Mrs. Prasad said, sir. But I'm saying that tonight, no weapons formed against her is going to prosper. None. Kamla did too much of good work in this country for people to treat her worse than for people to give her money treatment. We will never forget how they chase money like a dog out of Bali and spit on him. But I will make sure, and I'm sure I'm speaking for thousands of people out there, will make sure that don't happen to Mrs. Prasad Bisasa. Because there's an internal process. Follow it. Follow it. If all you want supporters, put up all your name to lead the party. Right? But clearly, Lennox,
yes,
they are putting party first instead of country.
But let me ask you something. Just repeat what you
putting party first.
Just repeat what you heard, your introduction, because I want to comment on it after you would have completed. But I want to make sure I heard properly. What was the rumor delivered by, as you said, Allen, by Allen? Go ahead. What was the rumor?
Ian Allen said that he has it on a good source. He got it from good sources. That a certain MP from South, he didn't say who it was, right? He didn't call names, right? As they are signing a petition, they are rounding up people, signing a petition along with a female senator, I'm quoting it, a female senator, to get a petition signed against Mrs. Prasad Bisasa to take to the president and to remove her.
Oh, okay.
To remove Mrs. Prasad Bisasa.
All right.
But I'm telling you, Lennox, that they're playing with fire. And I want to tell you, little girl, Barry Buttram, right? He never calls Santa Cruz name, so I don't know where you're coming from. And if you continue sullying my name, as I told you, you will get it worse than Mr. Tabaki. So if you feel you're hiding behind a fake profile to come here and cast aspersion on me, better for you. You will see what is going to happen. Because you all cannot be allowed to come here every night, night after night. If Lennox don't want to stop all it, something is going to stop all you. And casting aspersion on people like that. If you have proof, that I am one of those people that want to secretly remove Kamala, show everybody my signature. But don't come here like a little Macomé man and drop the words. All you have no shame, none whatsoever. Lennox, look at what's going on in this country.
Oh yes. Deep and concerning.
Look at what?
Yeah, debilitating matter of fact. Yes.
And I mean, and this is what all they're doing before all they get together to remove Rowley. Because clearly the man is not functioning. Rowley's not performing in the country. Lennox, I'm going to say tonight before I leave. If PNMites are happy, and I mean the low-class PNMites are happy with what Rowley is doing, the rest of us, 60% of the country is not satisfied. And especially the families of the people that got killed, that were murdered, that are being robbed, home invasion, and all these things that are going on. They are not satisfied with Rowley's performance. So Rowley can preach about who he fed from now till the cows come home. This is not email gate again. This is not Section 34 again. We will deal with you accordingly, Dr. Rowley. Thanks a lot, Lennox, and have a good night.
Yes,
From the Trinidad, location 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Help! Help! The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing the Caribbean Sea with an old captain named Eric Williams. Oh yes, it's smooth and free, but sadly Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit rough water that day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain.
yes, indeed, people, of course. Share. It's going to be interesting tonight. Share. Share the live. And of course, whether it is on Facebook or YouTube, just share. And of course, like. Share to your enemies, share to your friends, share to your compatriots, share to the diaspora, share outside and in any part of the world. Because remember, the next stage of this expansion has to do with, of course, trying to communicate with as much world leaders as possible. You'll be hearing a little more about it. It's just a matter of time. The longest journey begins with a single step. And of course, if the challenge is great, a single step is also important. And if it is a ladder to climb, then of course you need to get on the first rung and get the hell up the ladder. Sitting at the foot or standing at the foot, gazing at the sky, how could you get up there if you never try? Yes, indeed. The PNM has collapsed the Trinidad and Tobago, and itself is collapsing.
We gas tank almost empty, no electricity. We oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa. Trinidad, in her day of sailing, she was a friend to one and all. She never once ever hesitated always did her best to help all those in distress. Now it's so sad to see she's in difficulties. Though she helped cheer, some of them cheer and sarcastically declare, Captain, the ship is sinking.
Ah, yes indeed, Captain Rowley, this ship is sinking. You see, contrary to Miss Santa Cruz, I am not bothered with those who I consider to be entertainment. I consider them to be comic relief. Read my lips. I consider them to be comic relief. That doesn't bother me, because I know it is pie in the sky. I also know that they are a rapidly becoming extinct group of individuals who, of course, one or two of them